welcome to Quays News. Coming up on today's show. The British wrestler taking backyard wrestling to the top rope. The 19-year-old musician taking TikTok by storm.
The thing that blew up was my comedy as opposed to my music, my sketches.
How will Rishi Sunak's budget announcement affect the people of Salford? Hello and welcome back to Quays News. I'm Simon Seegers and this is the afternoon's news. First up on today's show. This Monday, all students in primary, secondary and further education are due to return to school after a few months in lockdown. This is the first step of the new roadmap that has been put in place by the government. Katie Parry spoke to a parent and a student about how they feel about returning to school.
An everyday routine for children, teens and university students that suddenly became strange. But that's all going to change again next week, with all students set to return to their education as a result of Prime Minister Boris Johnson's new roadmap.
Pupils and students in all schools can safely return to face-to-face teaching.
While some parents are relieved, others are worried about their children mixing with other students in school.
So would you say that working at home during the lockdown has affected your son's learning?
Yeah, he's very clever and used to love doing work just randomly. Mum, will you write some sums? And in this lockdown, he will not entertain it. So it's like to not cause attention in the house every single day. I've kind of been a bit laid back and not forced him, because otherwise I'd be arguing every day. So I know that he needs that school environment. It's not the same at home.
Most students are expected to return to school on the 8th of March. The government recommends that students in secondary school and higher education should use face coverings in all indoor environments. Secondary school students are expected to be tested for coronavirus at school 3 times and then once at home. From then on, students will have to test themselves at home twice a week. Primary students will not have to be tested, but this is being kept under review.
I think they're using them to test what it would be like, basically. And we're going back, and 3 weeks later, they break up for Easter. So I'm a bit, he's got these 5 weeks in between, hasn't he, for certain things open on the 12th of April. That's 5 weeks after the kids go back to school. So are they going to send them back 3 weeks, see how it goes over Easter, and then maybe prolong that? Maybe say, oh, sorry, we can't do that on the 12th now because there's been a rise. But that's because the kids have gone back before.
But for 6-year-old Isabella, her concerns were different.
So what do you like doing at school?
Eating
Eating
my lunch.
Eating your lunch? But what about playing with your friends?
Yeah.
You like playing with your friends, yeah? And eating your lunch. She never remembers what class she does, but she can always remember what lunch she had.
The community brass band is known for bringing locals together, but for one band on the brink of losing their rehearsal space, it's a race against time for them to take back control. Jake Penkethman has spoke with them to find out about their plan to do so.
Knolltop Chapel, home to the Stannington Brass Band for a significant number of years, but that could all be about to change. With the chapel being closed for worship and coming up for sale on the market soon, the brass band are launching a large appeal to purchase the chapel to run as a community space.
I think the population of Stannington holds the buildings very dear to their heart. You know, they're part of the landscape and want them to remain so, but more importantly, remain so for the benefit of the community.
The loss of this rehearsal space will force the brass band to find alternative premises, something which will pose a challenge in the midst of the current pandemic. Where is the campaign currently at? How far along has the action group got, and what sort of responses are you seeing in terms of progression?
We've agreed a constitution which will enable us to set up a bank account in the first instance. We've applied and have got so far positive response from the council, although not a formal response, and an application for it to be an asset of community value
Although those involved will have to wait a little while longer to see if their plans are successful, it's clear they're not ready to stand down just yet.
Other users, there are other people within the community who feel very strongly that they want to retain it for community use and not let it fall into the hands of a developer, say.
For now, the band are praying they can continue to play their trumpets in the chapel for a long time to come. Jake Penkethman, Quays News.
Now on the show, we speak to Annie Brewer about Rishi Sunak's budget announcement. Annie, what do you make of it?
Well, it's clear that Northern leaders are feeling ignored from this budget plan. If we look at education, there was no mention of schools and children's wellbeing, as pointed out by MP Kate Green. She said, "This isn't the ambitious recovery plan we needed from the Chancellor. Children always are an afterthought for this government." And with Salford in particular, more than 2,100 school children on average are self-isolating every day in Salford, which is around 6% of the school population in the city. This is like the highest amount, one of the highest amounts of people self-isolating last year during the school closures. If we look at transport, Andy Burnham said that there was no mention of the Northern Powerhouse, which is an important thing to bring cities together. This is yet another yet another example of the government ignoring Northerners and the issues that they need to face, including the pacers or the bone rattlers that are still being used. And with this problem being ignored, income is needed to fix these issues. And with poverty, think tanks have also stated that the cut in universal credit will plunge 500,000 people into poverty, including 200,000 children. Salford is one of the highest affected areas for poverty in children. Figures have released that 21% of children in Salford as a whole were living below the breadline in 2016. And in one neighbourhood near Salford Central train station, 56% of children were living in poverty. So it's just another example of a north-south divide.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks so much for that. Ever since the first lockdown, professional wrestling across the UK has been held at a standstill, with many rising stars' dreams being put on hold. But with the government's green light for packed-out venues to return as of May, Fergus Adley has taken a look at what this means for the British wrestling scene.
The era of Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks is over. And the rise of British wrestling is on the horizon. And with the government's green light for venues to open up with packed crowds later this year, it won't be long until professional wrestlers return to the limelight.
I am the protagonist, Hustle Malone. I do the work.
Lee Hustle Malone is a professional wrestler and commentator from Bedfordshire, who over the past year has been making waves on social media with his eye-catching promotional videos. I was lucky enough to catch up with him to see what he is most looking forward to in the return of British wrestling.
To me, I've seen so many great performers work on themselves during COVID and get in phenomenal shape. I've seen so many guys do charity live streams or do great promos and keep themselves afloat and keep themselves in the awareness. This is the game. So if you are not a contracted performer and you are not being paid a wage as a wrestler during COVID, it's up to you to keep your stock high enough so that when we come back, you are at the very least where you were when you left, if not higher. To me, this has been an opportunity to invest in myself.
But COVID has closed the gyms and wrestling has been very sparse this year. But one man looking to brush off the ring rust is Just Joe Lando, who's taken the heights of the top rope to his backyard.
It's just a matter of opinion.
So, Joe, how's it been for lockdown? Has it stopped your work ethic or have you kept it up at the same place? What's it been like for you?
You know, as bad as it sounds, like the lockdown did work to my favour. There was no other wrestling content. So like I could just bang out these clips and they were eating it up because it was fresh wrestling content. So yeah, I'm excited to show off new moves, and especially now I've got like more eyes on me.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, Like I really want to capture them, because there's one thing seeing me doing it onto a bunch of mats, and there's another thing seeing me do it live.
Fans won't be able to watch live wrestling again until June 21st in packed crowds and venues. And by the people I've spoke to and the waves on social media, it's looking like everyone is excited for the return of wrestling as much as I am. Fergus Adderley, Quays News, Salford.
Some wonderful tights there, Fergus. Imagine making a TikTok account to promote your music, but accidentally blowing up as an internet comedian. Nicole Tompkins spoke to this student who's become a viral star, doing just that.
I don't wanna speak if it's not about me, so let's talk. Pick your jaw from off the floor, and let's walk.
If you're guilty of scrolling through TikTok for hours on end just like this, then I'm sure you've come across 19-year-old music student Michael Aldag at some point.
No, I'm sick of tears now. I'm sick of them. Well, what about something, something from the old days? Do you remember when I used to do the big lockdowns? Oh, God.
With a whopping 15.7 million likes over his videos, the class clown of TikTok has found that his relatable humour has helped grow the account he made mainly to promote his music.
The thing that blew up was my comedy as opposed to my music, my sketches that I do on there, and then from there I've been growing the two in kind of conjunction with each other and trying to move people from the TikTok to the music. So I just announced my first live shows yesterday, and one of them sold out already. So that's nuts for me. So happy about that.
Do you think that because of sort of the TikTok awareness that helped the first show to be sold out?
Yeah, possibly. Like I said, people have come from TikTok and are now invested in the music. So I think it's organic. I haven't paid for ads or whatnot or things like that. I think people, and I think I like the comedy aspect of it because people get a better idea of who I am, as opposed to just having the songs there.
Where do you think that this is going to now take you? Obviously, you've got your live shows and you've got your music coming out. What do you sort of hope to do after uni, 5 years time?
I hope to be a successful artist. I mean, like I said, that's been my dream since I was very young, and TikTok has helped that help make that happen. But I think I just want to keep growing.
With the music industry struggling throughout lockdown, it's comforting to see how this artist is kickstarting his career and cracking jokes at the same time. Nicole Tompkins, Quays News.
Since Nicole spoke to Michael earlier this week, both his September shows have sold out. So from all of us here at Quays News, we send a massive congratulations out to Michael. If you've found any upcoming talent on TikTok, be sure to @ us at Quays News. Now, the coronavirus pandemic has halted all forms of live entertainment, making the music world harder for upcoming talent. Jess Blake finds out whether musicians have been benefiting from the domestic space or some of the constant challenges they face.
The impact of the pandemic on the music world was unexpected, leaving many musicians struggling as to how to find their place within the industry. I'm here today with some fresh talent to find out some of the struggles that musicians have tackled this lockdown.
Hi everyone, I'm Alice Ratcliffe. I'm a 20-year-old singer-songwriter. I'm originally from Bradford, but I'm currently at Salford doing popular music. I'm in the second year.
What challenges have you faced creating music in lockdown?
It's been quite hard. There's no places open or anything. That's kind of been hard for gigging musicians. But to be honest, social media is kind of where we've been at anyway, even before this has kind of started. So it hasn't been the hardest thing in the world, I don't think, because that's kind of our platform now. That's where we're at.
Have you found it hard to promote your music during the pandemic?
I've just started. So I've started my stuff in a pandemic. So I'm kind of just getting into the flow of things. So I am excited to get out of it and actually be able to gig and stuff. So it has been hard, but at the same time, I think social media is where everyone's at now anyway.
What are you most looking forward to doing with your music once lockdown's over?
Looking forward to studios and stuff being open again. That's the biggest thing. And just collaboration. no one's been like working together at this point. You're not feeding off of anyone. That's quite a stressful thing. You're just kind of faced with yourself in this point. So yeah, I'm excited to work in studios with people on a course, and then gigging as well. I haven't done it before, so this is going to be good.
Earlier today, we asked you on Twitter how you felt about the return of schools this Monday. And let me tell you, we got some responses. At Teles Senior says, I'm not sure how there'll be 30 unvaccinated kids and teachers in classrooms and we still can't go out and play football. At Joe Mama MUFC says it's stupid, especially since we have to wear masks all day. At Off Guard Bridge says it's so stupid. A-levels have been cancelled, yet we have mocks which account for a final grade. What's the difference between mocks that account for a final grade and A-levels? The answer? Mocks are earlier than A-levels. It's just additional stress. And at Goat Spanker, some of these ats are quite something, aren't they? He says, my kids are looking forward to it. I'm anxious, but it's time. Variety of reactions there, which is interesting to see, but at least we're finally getting back to some form of normality. Well, that's just about all we have time for this week. We'll be back at the same time next week, but until then, it's goodbye from all of us here at Quays News. Here to play us out is Alice Ratcliffe.
I told myself that I'd leave it out, cause I'm not around. Open up the fan and we'll make it a game. Oh, you feel the same. You only have yourself to blame. Love, but you were born with hate, and I don't blame you for your selfish ways. Forgiveness is the road I'll take. I'm tired of forgetting all the reasons that you hate me. Can we move away from everything? We cannot go on living in fear of what we used to be. So open up and I'll set you free. These nights when I remember all the things I used to say, my heart aches, and you know he's gonna find out anyway. Oh, you only have yourself to blame. You love, but you were born with hate, and I don't blame you for your selfish ways. Oh, forgiveness is the road I'll take. Ooh. Oh, if God exists, will he change me to a bird? Oh, I thought that I was dying almost 7 times today. Oh God, please give me a break. Oh, you only have yourself to blame. You love me, you were born with hate, and I don't blame you for your selfish ways. Oh, forgiveness is the road I'll take. Oh, you only have yourself to blame. You love, you love, you love, you were born with hate, and I don't blame you for your selfish ways. Oh, forgiveness is the road I'll take.